Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Sen's World, and sorry that I've been delaying Sound Design Monday for quite some time. I've been really busy with personal stuff. I've also been working on some of my tracks, so I haven't had enough time to make an episode. But you know, here we are now, and we are gonna make a new one. So today's episode, we're gonna be making a pluck, a percussive pluck that has become a really big thing ever since Martin Garrix released this track "Animals" on Spinning Records. So the way the pluck is gonna sound is actually like this. Let me put it an octave higher, 2 octaves lower, and one more octave low. Okay, so the whole idea of the plug was to resemble like a piece of wood knocking on something. I'm sure you guys have seen that instrument, probably in a percussion in the orchestra. So that's what we're gonna be creating today. So as always, if you're interested, stick around. If not, I have like 9 more episodes of Sound Design Monday. I'm sure you'll find something you're gonna like in there, and I'm sure you'll learn something. Okay, guys. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Let me see real fast what's going on. So we got the voicing. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing we want is a mellomantic oscillator. If you just hear the mellomantic by itself, it really sounds really kind of jazzy in a way. So what we want to do to that is we want to put it up by 12 octaves, and then we want a 12 here, and then we want a 10 here. So the way we do it is just move it to the right, and just move this up. So we're really being really subtle here. The only reason I'm playing 12.10 is because like, I don't know why, but for some weird reason, like whenever I put a 0.10, it sounds bigger. It tends to sound a little bit bigger, so that's the reason for that. So you can put it on 12, and you probably won't hear the difference, so it doesn't really matter. So the wavetable position decides where we're using. So when you use massive, this can do a lot of things. It can turn different waves from a square to a saw, or it can make the oscillator you're using a little bit more different, more distorted, or less of it. So we just want it in the middle. The intensity is all the way up, and the amp's all the way up. Okay. We want to route this all to filter 1. Okay, now for oscillator 2, we're going to be putting a square in saw 1, which should be on by default on massive. We're going to be putting the wavetable position like around 12, a little bit before 12, so we're getting a little bit of the square and the saw together. That's a good thing about massive too, that it allows you to use square and a saw together if you put it up in the middle. Now we're going to put that negative 0.10, so all you really have to do is move that down to 10.10. So it's a really small change, and again, the purpose of that, it just makes the sound a little bit bigger. Okay, so for that, pretty much intensity and amp up. Okay, don't worry about the greens. Those are just effects being applied to the pitch, which I'll get into later. So for oscillator 3, we have a math 2, with rough math 2 from the basic section of the massive oscillators waves. And we want to put that down by 12, which is going to pretty much cover the low end of the sound. So what we want to do here is we want to put the wavetable position all the way up. We want all the intensity up, and we want the amp at 12. So we don't really want much of this sound to kind of, override the whole pluck, because it's going to drown these 2 oscillators straight out. Okay, so we have at negative 12. Now we want to do some modulation to the oscillators. So for ring, all you want to do is put the RM down here. You want to put the ring mount at 2. Here, you want to put the pitch at 24. The phasing at 2. And we want to add like a little bit of phase, so like around 9 o'clock. So when you click on this is going to change to a phase. Just put it at 9 o'clock. And for position, again, the tab's going to change. And this is going to go to oscillator 1, and we just want to move that all the way up, okay? And pretty much what these do is they just affect like these 2 oscillators here. Whoops, I'll turn them on. And pretty much phasing, I'm sure many of you've heard, it's kind of that weird kind of phasing effect. It's like, and for this kind of sound, we're not really using it for that kind of sound. We're just using it to kind of build the sound. So in reality, it's really a minimal change when we apply the phase when it comes to these kind of sounds. Now, of course, we want some noise. Everything sounds way better with noise except the bass. So if you ever have a pad or like a lead, you always want to put some noise on it, and you want it to be really minimal. When you ever have like a sound that's gonna have a lot of reverb and or delay, if you put that noise, it's gonna make the pad sound a little bit more bigger. I don't know why white noise tends to make people think it sounds bigger. So it's just a little trick you play with their mind. So if we want the amp to be at 9 and we want the color all the way up, so it's going to be a bright noise, not a white noise. So the bright noise tends to stay in the upper frequencies, and that's where I usually love my white noise. I hate the white noise that covers pretty much the whole fucking frequency spectrum. It's a pain in the ass to kind of master. Now for the feedback section, we just want to put this at 10 o'clock, the amp. So pretty much it's pretty much what the name says, feedback. So pretty much it's being routed and just getting feedback from it. Okay, so now we're gonna go filter 1. We're gonna go to the DAF. We're gonna put this as a DAF filter. You just want to leave the cutoff all the way down and the resonance like around 8 o'clock. That's pretty much all you want to do right now. Do not worry about filter 2. I was messing around with pretty much how it would work. It doesn't change anything because I had it routed, so I would maybe have like something move the mix down here, but I just noticed that it doesn't really make that much of a difference, and it sounds way better with the filter 1, so don't worry about this. So that filter is down at 2, at 0, sorry, the cutoff, and then the resonance are here. So now that we have all that, let's start getting into the envelopes. So for envelope 4, which is routed to your amp envelope is where the sound comes out of. So this is going to define how long the sound is released for, so how long you hear the sound before it decays back to the 0. And so forth. So what we're going to be doing is just going to have a really high attack. So you just want to move the attack a little bit, like around 8 o'clock. The level all the way up. So we want this to be loud. The decay, of course, is here. And we want the level all the way down, up, sorry. And that's so we have the max. So you're not going to hear the pluck go dun and then slowly fade away. You're going to hear it dun and it's just going to fade away. The release, we want it around here, 11. So we're going to get a little bit of release, which is going to work well in synchrony with the reverb that we're going to apply later on. So once we have this is pretty much done, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay. Now let's go into our envelope 1, which is going to be routed to oscillator 1. Pretty much what we're going to have is we're going to have a high attack again, level all the way up. Now this is where change the decay is put around 8, okay? And then we're going to put the level all the way down. So it's going to pretty much tell the pitch to go up to 36 and then decay really fast back down to 12.10 here. So that's pretty much it. The release, you want it at around 9 or 8. So it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to be precise with this. And pretty much that's going to be about it with this section here. We're just going to route it to oscillator 1, and then we're just going to move it to 36. Anytime you're messing with this, the envelope is going to go the way the wave is shown. So just see it visually. Sometimes it helps people more. Sometimes it just screws people up. But it's really simple. The pitch is going to go from 12.10 up by 36. So don't, and then it's going to go down like that, the way you see it. Okay, so now once we have that, pretty much that's all. We're going to go into envelope 2, and we're going to have something similar. Now, this is just to imitate, like, pretty much what's going to happen is here is the attack is pretty much set at around 7 or 8, and the level's all the way up. So what's going to happen is this envelope, the second one, is going to be routed to the cutoff filter, and what's going to happen is the cutoff filter is going to shoot up all the way up to this value we set here, and then it's going to go back. It's going to go back down pretty much in this way. So a little bit, not slow, but fast, but slow. It's hard to explain, but you're just going to see it go like that. So we get a really nice sound from it. Sorry if I'm blowing your ears with the pluck. Okay, so once we have that, we route it to the cutoff, and we move it by clicking, holding, and pulling it up to here around 2 o'clock. You can experiment. You can go all the way up. You can go a little bit more. Depends on what you want, and just mess around with that. Okay, so once we have that, we just have to go into our LFO5, and we're going to route this to our oscillator 2 here, and oscillator 3 here, and we're going to put that up by 1.06 and oscillator 2 by 1.49. So pretty much all it's going to do is going to apply this LFO effect onto this pitch. So it's the same idea with the envelope, except instead of using an envelope like the visual, the attack, the decay, the sustain and release, we're going to be using the characteristics of an LFO, which you guys know goes like a sine wave and so forth. So first thing you want to do is you want to put random steps here, which you can find here. And you can put random steps 3 on this one. And of course, these are presets already set for you. Now, you just want to move them so it looks like this, the one down here, and this one like this. And all this is going to decide is how these LFOs are going to move. So as you can see, it's going to go June, like that. So that's going to be the effect, the way it's going to move. Honestly, guys, I really don't know what it does to these. I was just fucking around. So if you want to add them, go for it. If not, then it's not going to make much of a difference. We want to put the rate all the way up. We're going to put the restart on and the amp at around 2. So this is how much is being applied. And we're going to route these here, and pretty much that should be the end of that. Now for insert 1 here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a P shaper, a parabolic shaper wave. That pretty much tends to make the sound a little bit more dunk, dunk. It gives it a little clipping effect in a way. So we want that to dry and wet at 9, and we want to drive at 1 through 2. For insert 2, it's a bit of big crush. I just added on. This is something you can probably put a macro on, and you can work on, you know, kind of automating it. The big crush is mainly going to be heard with the white noise that we have applied here. So that's pretty much the reason why it's there. So just put the crush at 12, and you can set it as much as you want with the macro control, which you can drag from here. Okay, once we have all that, then pretty much we're almost on the home stretch. What we're going to be going is into voicing, and we're going to put a unison of 3. So we want 3 voices for every oscillator. We're going to polyphon, which pretty much means you can play more than one note. Monophon means you can only play one note at a time. We want to put the pitch cutoff on. We're going to set this value here to 0.50, and all we're going to be doing with this is just detuning. So you just move it and you put it at where you please, where it sounds good to you. But I have it like in between these two, like 1/4 up. Now we want to go to pan position, and that pretty much decides whether your sound is going to be mono or full stereo. We're going to be moving from mono to here, so pretty close to the full inversion here. Okay, so once we have that, then you just want the trigger always here. Now let's go into oscillator. We have our vibrato rate at around 1, and the depth pretty much down. You can put that up and down to however you like. Like light is just set to the regular pitch bend 2.0 here, and negative 2.0. So that just decides how much of a pitch bend you apply. Okay, so just make sure everything's the same here. Make sure everything's the same here. This pretty much just decides where it's being routed to. Just make sure it's the same. Now, once we have everything, then you should be getting the sound. Oh, sorry. And let's just get into our effects real fast. So we have a reverb here. And reverb just tends to make things sound big. So the dry and wet is at 9. The size is at 2. Density of it is at around 3. And the color of it is around 9 o'clock. Now we have a delay synced. So the left is going to be 3 to 16. Right 4/16, dry and wet at around 10, damp at around 1, feedback 11. So that should be everything we need to get the sound. You can control your master knob here too. I have it set around here. Once we have all that, I'm playing with my typing keyboard, so I can't really play anything for you guys. Anyways, I hope this tutorial was helpful. The preset can be found on my tutorial page on Facebook. It's called Sen's World. I'll put a link in the description. Sorry for taking long to create the sound again, and sorry if I kind of talk like I'm out of it. It's been really tired lately. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll try and get more of these out hopefully by next Monday. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy the sound, and good luck.